Go.
Call to order at 7:02. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Assuming everybody had time to, or they were able to review last month's meeting minutes. And second, all those in favor of approving last month's meeting minutes? Aye. Aye. All right, so moved. No additions. Any public comment? You're here for a presentation?
Yes.
All right, nobody else? All right, the floor is yours. Just let us. Oh, go ahead.
So as Aleka comes up to talk about our presentation, we had met with Aleka earlier about a project she would like to present to the Park and Recreation Board about adding an amenity at Upper Macungie Park, Route 100 Park, near the dog park. It's a project that's very similar to, I will term it a little free library, but with pet supplies. So without stealing her presentation, just want to give you a primer that she met with me a couple of weeks ago to discuss this project. It seems like a very worthwhile project in addition to our parks, and just following the process to go through to, number one, present to the Park and Rec Board. You would make your decision and motions on if you want to move the project forward to the Board of Supervisors and follow the same process just like we do for other park and recreation projects. So with that, I'll turn it over to Aleka.
All right, now try. Oh, hold on. Tech support's on its way.
It should be done on.
Say it louder. Brian said, my name is Aleka Smith. My husband, my daughter, and I moved to the Valley 2 years ago as job students. And we love living here. We love all of the amenities that it has to offer. We live about 1.5 miles or so from the park. In January of this year, so a couple months ago, I suffered a 19 anyway. Never expected. Because it's coming. It's very, very unexpected. And one thing my therapist recommended is having something closure, whether it's a tree or a bench, something that I can put my whole heart into. And being a dog lover, 5 or 6 pets of our own, we put down that heart a lot. I had the idea for the pet supply pantry. I changed it to pet supply crush. I think it sounds a little better. Basically think of like your pantry or the lending library or books, but like given item, taken item in a situation. The first page is what I'm thinking for it. I'm basing it off of a little library solely because I'm not handy enough to build one. I don't know anybody who can, but if you have any ideas, I love them. But this is what I'm basing it off of. I think that's the teacher side, the way it looks. And I'm thinking about how it's bottom. The page talks about the allowable items. At first, I was thinking of limiting it to dogs and cats, but not everybody just has dogs and cats, realistically. So for me, thinking about it now, as long as something fits in there and we can organize it, I think it will work out. And as long as it takes some space and they do not go right there. The next page talks about closure option for it. Okay, I don't know what wildlife that's down there. I don't know if you have bears at Upper Macungie, but that looks kind of bear proof based on what I was searching, and it looks easy enough that someone can easily open it and close it if needed. And it's high enough off the ground that young kids shouldn't have a reason to get into it. Again, that's basically absolutely necessary, and that's fine. The third page talks about the location. Location is everything. My top choice is the picture of my husband and my 2 pups in it. If you're at the dog park entrance itself, like where the 2 gates are, that's looking straight across from there. Obviously the pavilion on the left, the playground comes right behind my husband and my dogs. We liked that spot because 1, it's not super close to the fence, so hopefully no canines will go after everything that's in it. And if people are donating or taking, it's far enough back from the road to feel safe. If they have a bag, they can unload stuff. If myself or some volunteers coming and, taking stuff out and emptying it or putting stuff in, again, they can also feel safe. And then if you want to put flowers around it, beautify it, it's really not crazy as, you're a while down the road, but we just thought that was the best option. It's also easy to drop off, which don't have to park. Option 2 is right in the middle, which I think is the large dog run, We didn't really like that one as much because it's really close to the trash can, and kind of overshadowed from that. And every time I've been down to the park and I see somebody using the dog runs, they always park to the left of the trash can. So like for me personally, if I was gonna be there, I personally wouldn't want to park on the right side, unload my stuff, and then walk down, and I'm just gonna want to park down the other side anyway. I don't know if that just means I'm lazy, I don't know, but I would probably park down by the entrance. And also the trash can can kind of overshadow it, and it can be easily missed. If you're just driving by, I personally probably wouldn't see it right away. Then the 4th page is the bulk of it, probably what we're looking for, what we talk about when we kind of those installation and who purchases. As this first box comes hopefully into fruition, it's our project. Mainly mine, but my husband's obviously involved too. We are fortunate enough that we are in a financial position where we can take charge of purchasing the materials needed for this box. Post, whatever plaque needs to go on it, stocking it the first time, et cetera, et cetera. We are perfectly doing that. The only thing I would need to ask for help for would be actually installing it. I don't know how to dig, but I don't know if I can dig for that. I don't know how to pour concrete. So that's probably where we would need additional assistance from the township, whoever that may be. If there's permits needed, which I'm assuming there are, we are totally fine applying for them and paying for them for whatever is absolutely needed. As far as the sign explaining the purpose of it and acceptable items, I actually put that on the back page because I can work on this page. So we can get to that now or talk about it a little bit. But coming from Dayton and Cleveland, Ohio, where we were, at the metro parks, they had a ton of these outdoor literature, whatever you want to call them, containers with brochures in them and maps. And that seemed like a really good idea for this because if it grows, an acceptable item list grows, as it being changes, I can amend the papers that go in there rather than being maybe like a permanent plaque that would be stuck on it. Everything can go in this outdoor, weatherproof, safe acrylic container. And I could print 10, 50 copies, whatever it would be. Put the purpose of it on there with the items, people can take it and use it. As far as monitoring the box, that's also very important. Shelter monitors, aka volunteers, I took the term from the Little Free Library. Those are individuals that manage the boxes. So just like the lending library for the books, make sure that they're adequately stocked and everything's relatively organized. Shelter monitor, the volunteer, would manage and take care of the boxes. We basically keep up with regular maintenance. I live close enough to the park that I'm down there regularly, even if I'm not there, I'm driving by, so I'm probably once or twice a month, but it could be more. If there happens to be items sitting outside the box, because let's be honest, not everybody follows the rules, take those items, if they fit, put them in the box, and we organize it the best that we possibly can. If, say, someone donates a large bag of food that obviously is not going to fit in this box, I hope to make a connection with the Sanctuary Hospital and partner with them for all donations. I'm also very active on our Urban Country Buy Nothing group, and there are always people looking for dog food, cat food, supplies, whatever it may be. Because let's be honest, pets are expensive. 5, prices are not going down for any of your stuff. And if we can help make things a little easier for somebody else, and it's one person a week, I think that would benefit the community in a lot of ways. And also, say someone loses a pet, but they don't know what to do with these items, they wanted to give it to a good cause, they don't feel like they can get to a shelter for some reason, they can drop it off in this box. If anything is expired, obviously it will be tossed, but the hope is that we check on it regularly enough that doesn't happen. I hope as time goes on, community members will express interest in this. I hope a lot of dog-loving friends and cat-loving friends And they all seem to be on board with this concept and happily donate anything that they have extra. So the more interest that's drawn to this project, the better. It's very near and dear to my heart, and I want to get other people on board with it who are also as passionate as I am. Vandalism, again, not everybody follows the rules, unfortunately. As far as vandalism goes, of course, it would be reported if any acts occur. The question I have would be, who would it be reported to? Whether it would be Parks and Rec, the police, who would it be reported to? Because I have not dealt with that personally for anything I've done. So I would just need to know exactly who to track that to. If volunteers saw something, would they tell you, would they tell me, and I direct it, etc. If the damages are beyond the scope and ability, or financial, physical, that my husband and I could repair or do, then we would reach out for additional support and we take matters that however that would be. The replacement and the lifespan of the box. I wish I could say these lasted forever, but we know it probably does not. So if anything were to happen to it, we will take charge of this particular box since it is our box initially. And we are fine getting assistance, taking it down, and doing assistance, just like setting it up. As far as ownership goes, unless township means otherwise, the reflection most likely be ours. Again, needing assistance. And just the very last page real quick, I know we talked about the acrylic wall wrap picture, but at the top, I just said brief explanation of why I think this is so important. One, closure for my family is really important. A place to go to mourn, take care of something, so to speak, but also give back to the community. It's been involved in our rescue for years, volunteer shelters. There's a need for pet supplies. It may seem minor to some people who can afford them, but for others, it might not be so easy. And also, as when it comes to volunteering, I don't have 3 or 4 hours every week to volunteer for something I'm passionate about. And I have a lot of passions. But if someone would want to volunteer, taking a half hour of their week to, organize the spots, take stations somewhere, that could be their way of giving back to the community, getting volunteer hours in, whatever that is, or just being children and the community benefits. Thank you very much.
Did you get any cost for the concrete?
Didn't know.
No, that's fine.
I think that could simply be a bag or two of saccharin.
I don't know, I'm not a concrete expert.
I've
What do you
seen
think,
little-
Jim?
I've seen little libraries without concrete and with, so I'm assuming this.
Little libraries we have out for like Boy Scout projects, we haven't purchased one.
How are they in the ground? Just with a post?
4x4
Like a
posts
mailbox
with
kind of post, I think. Right? Yeah, and you see like a bag of saccharin too.
This is obviously a lot heavier than
It
books.
depends on how big you're gonna get, depending on how much stuff can go inside of it.
My question, the size should be specified, like how much 4x4, 2x4 pound bag or 1 pound bag, only that is accepted. So if it clearly is done on the side or front, wherever the box,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying, and wherever we place option 1 or option 2, I see 2 options. My first question is, which option do you prefer?
I prefer number 1. I just like that spot better. I don't know if that makes more annoying for the long term at all, honestly, but I just think it's better there.
Yes, the second question again comes, are we going to write something over there like, okay, 1 pound box, 1 pound bag only, or 2 pound bag only because of the limited size?
It will be on the acrylic wall. I think it'll be, once I get the actual box in and we assemble it, and I can see what it would fit. My guess is the most would be a 3-pound bag. That is like the absolute most I'm thinking of. And because they're pretty small, I can't envision anything bigger than that. My apologies, one thing I forgot to mention.
What I'm seeing is that people will get the bigger box and then they just drop it at the base.
Right.
Because they don't want to take it back, they already purchased it, so
And hopefully it'll be donated.
that's the only concern I have is like people will buy a bigger bag And they will just, okay, I can't take it home, I don't have pets, so I'm going to just drop it right here.
Less worry.
And then we invite all the wildlife right there.
That's
That's the only,
That's one of the problems with drop-off boxes is, like what he's saying, like if they bought something that's too big to fit in there, they're not gonna return it, they're just gonna like set it next to
set
it
it
and
next
then
to it.
The other thing is, it looks like a nice sturdy latch to close it, but how is it gonna keep the little critters out, like, mice and rodents, other rodents, chipmunks, from burrowing into it? They'll just bore right through the wood.
I mean, if it's food, it should be sealed bags.
And,
Kind of rodents do you know?
my sister, left something in a lake house once, and we had a lot of rodents.
I always just say wet food only, dry and presentation.
Yeah.
What if it was made out of something other than wood?
Yeah, something sealable, like a plastic containers tend to be a little bit better.
Well, the only thing is, squirrels and stuff chew plastic.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, metal? Like a metal,
Little boxes I know of, the ones that used to have newspapers and stuff in them.
yeah.
I just want to add my input. First of all, I want to just thank you for coming out. Obviously, you're very passionate about this, so I think it's a great idea. And I think that, if it benefits someone else in the community, it's a win-win, so thank you, number one. I actually recently donated food to a food pantry for the first time. Like, it was used dog food, like I just had leftover dog food. I showed up and they had like two sections. One was kind of the size of a mailbox, and what I had didn't fit in the mailbox. They had basically like a Rubbermaid storage bin that sat on the floor. The mice issue that you bring up, they were checking it on a more frequent basis. So instead of like once a month, it was daily checking it. So maybe that would prevent something like that, and it wouldn't limit what someone could bring. Just thoughts.
The other option is a donation site. Unfortunately, I just thought of that, I don't know if it would be at the exact moment in time, but a donation site, and then myself or whoever volunteer would be responsible for picking it up, taking what would work, stocking it ourselves, and then, donating the rest. People could still take the items from it, just not put stuff in. Another possibility.
You know how wide the box is?
I should have wrote that down here. Unfortunately, I don't have to drive my phone to get that one. For this particular one, I have to
Right.
check.
I don't know, Jim, I was thinking like if we can make like a cage under it, so that if somebody can borrow a big bag and they don't put it, just in the cage. Just
Another item just to consider as we continue to expand our volunteer in the park program and some of our events like Parktoberfest and the Chambers Paws in the Park event is those are great opportunities to expand our volunteer base for more frequent check-ins on an item like this. So as Aleka has mentioned a couple times a month, maybe there's another 10 who are checking on a different basis. I would also state that similar to other projects you've approved, you have mentioned certain things to consider as the approval goes on. Case in point about colors or murals or things like that. So if there was a concern about oversized bags, to keep that in mind in your approval process.
Other than the wall thing on the side with pictures in it, on the plaque that would be on it, would just say Pet Supply Project Box in memory of. Even if you had picked it up, that would be acceptable.
I would like to say it's a good idea. I own a dog and I adopt always. So this is my third dog which I adopted from the shelter, local shelter. So always shelter need food. That's a good idea. Only concern, as I said, big boxes. So we got to brainstorm and see if we can build on. That's why I was asking you the width. If we can build some like a chicken coop on the front, we can just put it like a mesh type of area and put a lock and try to put the same type of locking system what you have. Just
So you're talking about around the post.
around the post,
Beneath the bottom.
beneath the box. So
and
that's,
having to eat the bottom of the box.
so just in case if I go buy a 50-pound bag and it's no longer fit, and I don't want to return it.
Right,
So
Or you
maybe-
try it and the dog doesn't like it, now you're stuck with this big bag.
yeah.
It's like, what am I gonna do with it? I can envision that being. I think it's a cool idea, just,
It's a very good idea.
yeah,
Some nitty gritty things to figure out.
yeah, it's,
Yes, I would definitely figure out the cost, the size. If, like Jim said, we may not need concrete, and if we don't, that eliminates that whole section of it, and you don't have to worry about it. It is a very great idea. Or the other thing is you can just not do any food, and you don't have to worry about any critters or anything, or just omit it for now, then go back and revisit it later and do an add-on structure afterwards, to get that to move forward. And then the other thing was, I know, so it's just you that's behind this idea right now, you and your husband? Okay. So if this goes through and something happens to you or your husband, who, do you have at least maybe one or two people that can also, that are on that volunteer list that can also vouch?
My mom is 3 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Fair enough, but I have some really good friends around that kind of rooting for me behind the background. And I'm very confident they would be.
Gotcha.
And again, like Ryan said, I don't know how Oktoberfest works other than being there, but maybe setting up just with information would draw volunteers in as well. A lot of people love dogs in this community, and I love that so much.
I know, I just want to say, I think I envision a lot of people wanting to help out with this project and people seeing it and then wanting to come and start collecting things and helping you. So, I mean, I think it's going to be one of those things too that's probably trial and error a little bit. So I think it's a great idea, and it's small enough that you can do some trial and error, and if, a critter gets in at some point, you figure something out and just work through it until you get a right solution. I think it's a great idea, so thank you for coming out.
the other option is to maybe, enlist the assistance of a Boy Scout troop to do it with you. Boy Scouts, or if you know somebody who's looking for an Eagle Scout project and you kind of did it in conjunction with that person.
If so, my daughter's in the Girl Scouts, they always look for projects.
It's a really good idea. Put my Facebook feelers out, see if I can find
And then maybe enlist them to be, help with the maintenance.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
So I would probably say you should probably go back and just get the names of people that are also going to be, the volunteers for the project, and then more, what it's going to be, and are you going to do something for food or without food, or I think we can go from there.
I just have a question about the volunteers. I only have my friends so far, a couple others.
That's fine. The problem is if I start a project, and so if I'm in your shoes and I come and start a project, then I take a job in Miami, now I'm gone, and there's no volunteers. So as long as you have a list of volunteers that you can say definitely, if you move back to Cleveland, there's people that are still going to maintain it, and then eventually it's going to snowball and you get a lot more volunteers to come in.
From here originally, but I understand
Yeah.
exactly what you mean.
So if you allow me, I'll make the recommendation to take the feedback from the board, and I will work with Aleka directly to answer the questions you have and re-bring this to you guys to make sure we have all those details ironed out before we present to the Board of Supervisors. Is that
Yeah, that works.
okay?
You want to pass?
I wasn't going to vote. I don't think there's enough information.
Why don't you need to? It has to be approved by this board first, in the agreement.
Oh, well, she's gonna come back with more, because there's not enough for us to, I mean, right now, it would have to be a no, because I don't have enough information on it.
So we need the size of what we need the information.
We have the notes on what was discussed, and we'll get all those answers for you.
Yeah, then we'll come back to it, and then we can actually vote on it. Right now, there's just not enough there. It's a lot of good information, we just need to get it, filtered, she needs help for like digging a hole, like I said, I could talk to, daughter or Girl Scouts, and maybe they can get involved. Then she can come back and say, okay, to get the project done, we have the Girl Scouts who are going to help dig the hole and put this up and stuff like that. And there's a whole plan. Then we can approve it. And then when it goes to the board of supervisors, they have this whole plan that's already out there. Because if we send it now, it's just there's just not enough information. If that makes sense.
We'll go on a scout hunt.
Yeah, well, he has my contact information. So if you want to do something with the scouts,
And I'll make sure I schedule me with Aleka. We'll sit down. We'll go through all the questions that were asked, and we will get it ready for the April agenda to answer all those questions for you.
sounds
Thank
good.
you all so much.
Yep, thank you for coming out. All right, moving along, staff reports.
So you have our monthly report in front of you. I'm just going to touch base on some highlights. I'm not going to read off the whole thing, but we just came off our most successful Wildlands collaboration last Friday. I think it's because Emily brought pizza to Lone Lane Park, but we had 42 participants in our Paws, Claws, and Pizza event at Lone Lane. I think we've seen a ton of success in switching this to a monthly program versus a quarterly program, and it's grown traction. We're seeing a lot of the same families register for the different topics and different things that are going on. I think it's also strengthened our relationship with Wildlands Conservancy, which I can talk about a little bit later. But also we're seeing a lot of full programs as well. Our summer camp program in particular and our CIT program, which are there, which Emily can talk about. I'll give her a chance to talk about the summer camp program in a little bit, but 2 of our 3 sites are already full. So after 2 weeks of registration, 2 of the sites are already full, and there are double-digit wait lists at those 2 sites. The final site only has a couple spots left, less than 20. So it's a good thing, and she'll highlight all the new fun stuff going on. Which I'll let her do now. We'll skip a little bit out of order, okay?
So the biggest update since we last met last month is that we did start our interviewing process. We have a lot of great candidates. We have over 40 applications that came in, and they're still coming in. We obviously put out the biannual newsletter recently, so in there has a QR code for the application, as well as registration information for families who may not have registered yet. Like Ryan said, 2 of our sites, Jandal and Fogelsville, are sold out with 125 campers. And veterans, we have about 19 or 18 spots left. So we're almost there. Like I said last time, we have a lot of great, people coming into the camps to offer, unique experiences. Mad Science has committed to coming out twice to each of our campsites. Wildlands is coming out. We have a couple of bus field trip opportunities that I mentioned last month. So really looking forward to how it's going to all play out and put that puzzle together. So.
Also upcoming is our 2025 Bunny Hop Trunk or Treat event on Saturday, April 12th at Lone Lane Park from 10 to 2. We are looking for volunteers to help us. I promise the weather is going to be much better than Winterfest. It won't be as chilly, no rain, nothing but sunshine. It's going to be a great time. And Emily also added a traditional kind of Easter egg hunt as well to the event. So it's not just a trunk or treat. And we are seeing a large enrollment. It is free. There's no registration fees for the egg hunt, but we're seeing close to about 150, actually almost 180 now, individuals register for that. So it's going to be an exciting event for us. Anyone wants to dress up as Easter Bunny or anything like that, feel free to let us know, and we'll sign you right up.
Right, so then you have to do, because I know we didn't do it before because actually it was before COVID, I think, when it came up. And that was when people were doing those Easter egg hunts and then the parents were getting involved, and it became a mess, so we just stayed away from it. But it's good that you guys broke it up by age group, though.
Yep.
And it's, of course, optional. So, you don't have to participate in it, right? There's definitely a lot of fun festivities going on in the parking lots for the trunk or treat portion of the event. So if it's kind of not your style or, it's a shyer child who may not want to participate in that, there are other options available there. Ton of inflatables that we're bringing on, contemplating a couple surprise things that I'll leave to your imagination. But it's turning out to be a really great event. Hoping for great weather. Last year we had hail, so fingers crossed we don't have that, if you remember that, Jim.
No.
And then I also just wanted to make it a point too that the roster that we're generating with the bunny hop Easter egg hunt is just for us to get an idea of how many eggs to get. But if people show up, we're going to accommodate. So people can show up to the event and participate as well without a registration.
Awesome.
As you've seen, you have a copy in front of you. Recently came out our biannual newsletter, newest copy for spring, summer. A couple highlights on this. Number one, obviously Parks and Recreation takes the lead as you see the cover photos and program photos. But we've also wanted to make sure we highlighted some of the great work that various other departments that work with us do. We felt it was important to highlight our Public Works Department to start this rotation. We went from supervisors to talking about the community center project to now a staff highlight. And what I think is, for me, eye-opening and understanding coming into the township is that the leadership of the Public Works Department has 174 years of experience. And I don't think our residents really need to hear that and see all the things that go into what Public Works does on a yearly basis. So without them, a lot of stuff that we do cannot be accomplished. You'll see some updates and changes to some of the formatting. We really, and Emily, again, takes the lead on this with coordinating with the other departments and our vendor that puts it out to really make it highlight and pop so that we're getting all of our information out there in front of everyone as best as possible. You will also see a lot of new expansion in the ads as we have sponsors. So we've had an uptick in our ad sponsors. And we've kind of expanded our park and recreation pages since we have so much going on. We need more space. So that is all in there. The digital version should be up early next week on the website to access via PDF format, which leads me right into that we will be going into our next monthly e-newsletter on the 1st of April. It's not a joke. It will be coming out, and it will have key information getting ready for the summer. Our March one, we were down a couple subscribers, but our open rates and our clicks to various links to register for programs both increased. So, the open rate stayed the same, consistent. Our link clicks went up 532 clicks. So a lot of that was summer camp, but we're seeing steady engagement. Next up is the comprehensive park rec open space plan. I know Matthew emailed you all the link to the draft plan that is now available and starting on the 30-day public comment period. That link you were given is the draft plan itself, plus a link to a survey to provide all your feedback and comments on it. Simone Collins is scheduled to come to the Park and Rec Board meeting. We pushed it to next month as it ties into a chance to look at the draft plan and get some feedback for the team as well. We did have a total of 1,120 responses to our public survey, which is now closed, so we can switch over to the feedback survey. That is a record for Simone Collins. Actually, Comprehensive Park Rec Open Space Planning was one of the seminars at our conference, and it was actually highlighted how well we had done as a township in our public feedback. The Student Next Steering Committee meeting and public meetings were recently held in March, and like I said, Simone Collins will be here at the Park and Rec Board meeting next month. And just to highlight with our sponsorships, it's ongoing. We still have them available. Anyone who knows a company, a group, a family who would like to be a sponsor of the Park and Rec Department, reach out to Emily and myself, and we'll get them connected to the recognition opportunities that we have available.
Awesome. Sounds good. So for staff report, correct?
For now, yep.
All right, move on to old business. Winter bathroom options.
So I know this is one that's going to linger out here and just have comments and concerns. It is something we're keeping our eye on and we're looking at. We've looked with one portable restroom company. It does get a little pricier in the winter for portable restrooms because of anti-freezing, things like that. We did highlight 8 different locations, and doing the math, rough estimate came out to about $120 per week for a restroom to hold over approximately 20 weeks. So we're evaluating the cost effectiveness and preparing for those types of things for our 2026 budget. It may be it's not 8 locations, but we do recognize that is a concern of our park users, and we will continue to work to find a solution.
So do we think we'll have a solution for this upcoming winter or no?
Yep, I don't have to write a budget until May and June, so we got some time.
Okay, great. All right. Any questions about that? All right. You had a meeting with the Lehigh Valley Cricket Club.
Yep, so we checked in with the Cricket Club. We had a very productive meeting here at the township with their leadership. Got a better understanding of, number one, the game of cricket, to understand all the ins and outs of what actually occurs, and then kind of short-term versus long-term needs. Obviously, short-term is immediate spring, summer seasons. Long-term is a more robust offering of where this can occur. We do have a request in for field usage currently, so we're cross-referencing it with other things going on in the park and make sure we have everything in order. And we are scheduled to have a follow-up meeting with the Cricket Club leadership on Monday. So we're continuing those conversations. We've also worked with our township engineers to kind of do a GIS mapping of, small scale cricket to the largest scale, what it could be, and just continue that progress long term. One of the items is the areas to fulfill the short-term need is a multi-sport space. So we're working on making sure we know, not necessarily an asphalt pitch covered in turf currently for this upcoming season, but what other options are available and understanding equipment needs, and then thinking long-term as a home for Lehigh Valley Cricket Club in Upper McCombie Township.
And then you have parks picked out?
We've identified based on size of cricket in our current park inventory, and it's also with HRG being our engineering team and their understanding of our comprehensive park rec open space plan, kind of how that ties in when you start to get to master planning of individual facilities. So now we're getting the high level recommendations on how to approach Parks and Rec. Next step then goes to individual locations and what is possible or not possible.
Any comments?
No, I was in the meeting, so
I know. Okay. Anybody else have any questions about that? All right. Moving along. Tennis court follow-up. We had a resident last month that was here.
Yep. So we actually reached out and had a virtual meeting with USTA Middle States. Renee from that organization talked a lot about what they have available and opportunities on both programming and funding sides of things into how you can rehabilitate tennis courts, build new tennis courts, innovative programming opportunities to grow the game of tennis. So you have a fact sheet that I put with all of your information today, just to kind of give an overview of what they have out there. It does not mean, tomorrow we're going to build a brand new indoor tennis structure or anything like that, but it gives you the gambit of what they have available. Now, next step would be looking at that court inventory and seeing how many total tennis courts we have in the township, conditions, and things like that. I will say there is some kind of asterisks involved with tennis. Certain things cannot be multi-use versus others that can. So, for example, they may not fund a project that is tennis / pickleball / 3 other sports on it. Maybe they would fund something as just tennis. So we have to do a little more research after getting the initial meeting on the ins and outs of that.
So is there a way to figure out whether or not we are lacking in tennis courts?
I will take this once we list all of them and their conditions versus the benchmarking that's being done in our comprehensive park rec open space plan that says national averages where we are good, some areas we're lower in, and where tennis specifically fits into that.
Anybody have any questions about tennis? I'm sorry. So the next step is.
So I will report back, keep it on here on the agenda. I'll report back in April about tennis court inventory and additional information from our initial outreach with what USTA has available that can benefit us.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry about that. Okay,
I
moving
think
on.
we skipped SPYA projects.
We did. I cannot read. I apologize. SPYA projects.
Yep, so the township continues to work with SPYA to move the approved projects forward through the permitting process and construction process. So we are working with them on the ball walls and sports lighting, and we're just permit applications in through the permitting process. Obviously, we located the final sites, mapped them out, and now it's just progressing through the work. So
Yeah, I saw they got approved. Did they give do we have a date yet for when those will be up and running?
not yet. We wanted to make sure we had all the paperwork, I's dotted, T's crossed. So now it's up to, they are responsible for hiring the contractors to do the work properly, and now we're at those schedules.
Gotcha. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Ricky Park resident concern follow-up.
So we'll take a look at the immediate things that we can work on and address, some of the smaller scale items that were brought to our attention, but we're also open to sitting down with those concerned residents and having a conversation. So we'll make sure we make those connections and get more details about, I know some of the things were mentioned were such as sidewalks, whether it was in the park or in the neighborhood, some ideas about, thrown out there about amenities in the park, which is kind of master plan kind of level when we're in this process with the comprehensive plan. Signage was another one that came up. So we'd love to sit down with those residents and hear out their concerns.
All right. New business. So last month, Jason resigned. We have to accept his resignation. All right, so I'm going to make a motion to accept Jason Cryer's resignation letter. Just need a second. Raj, all those in favor of accepting it? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, thank you for his time. Caper ribbon cutting event.
So can I ask,
Sorry.
filling the spot?
Great question.
In the past, the board had evaluated applications and made a decision, a recommendation to the board of supervisors. The last couple of spots that were filled were just filled without that process. So how are we going to proceed with filling the spot this time?
Great question. I could bring it back up with Bob. I did ask Bob about that, and he said that is the way.
Which is the way?
That the township does, assigns the board members, which I believe it was, at least when I was brought on board, it was the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I do need to follow up to get some.
The question I have is, do we have people already, like some people say, okay, I'm interested in Park and Rec board, and we say this position is not open already. Do we have a couple of applications already? Yes or no?
The township does accept letters of interest from individuals who would like to volunteer their time on various boards, whether it be planning or Park and Rec Commission, the Park and Rec board, and they roll in on a rolling basis. So we do have individuals who have expressed interest in the Park and Rec board, and at the time of those submittals, there was not a vacancy. Now there is. I would say from the township perspective, it's not a grab off a pile and hand over and say, here you go, here's your new member. There's a process internally with township staff similar to an interview process that does occur. So it's not, we will, once this is official and the resignation is fully accepted by the board of supervisors, we will start that process.
So we do have candidates who are already interested in.
Yes.
So.
And if there are any other interested individuals, they can submit that application. I think, pretty sure it's on the website, or they can just reach out to us at the township and we can supply that form that needs to be filled out.
I just want clarification. Like, suppose if now we established we do have candidates who were interested in and has shown the interest. And so is this, they will come in front of the board first, or they'll go directly to the township staff or the supervisor? That's my second question.
That was what we just talked about.
So yes,
I will help clarify, like Matthew said, with Bob. I think the next step after an official, obviously the board supervisor meeting in April, reaching back out to those who have submitted interest and see if they are still interested. You know, if say I submitted mine a year ago,
Yeah,
I might not be
understand
interested
that.
anymore. So once we understand that, we'll know clear next steps.
so I'll get on that tomorrow and get an answer for you too. I guess. Okay, Cape Brook ribbon cutting event.
So in your newsletter, you'll see we have the concerts in the park and movies in the park listed, pages 30 and 31. Toy Story 4 is our first movie in the park of the series for the summer on May 9th. It's kind of a collaborative event with this ribbon cutting. I know it was I put on new business because I know concerns have come up before about we've seen a large number of people at our events. Cape Brook's a smaller neighborhood. Are we ready for that? What's going to happen? I've reached out to both the swim club and the local school around the corner in regards to what they've done for bigger events, specifically the swim club, because when they host a league championship, you're getting probably 1,000 people. They gave me some good insight in what they do in that process, such as one-way traffic flow, where cars are parked, volunteers, things like that. So I think we're going to take a look at that as a model, and then also possibly plan for overflow parking with approval from St. Joe the Workers School up around the corner, and find a way to connect that as needed. The part of the new business is if there are any ideas and suggestions from the board itself for that event planning, what you would like to see. Obviously, there's a movie. You know, we have our sponsors who are entitled to come out to events as they're able to, but is there anything specific or idea-wise you would want to see as part of the event to provide your input for the event?
Are you gonna have like,
And it doesn't mean you have to answer right now. You can always email and call. I just wanted to make sure it was out there.
I've never been to a park ribbon cutting event, so I have zero experience with it.
There'll be scissors. There'll be a ribbon. Probably a couple brief speeches.
Will the ribbon get cut?
We can cut a ribbon.
You know, those big giant scissors, because those are cool.
I've done it for trails and other things. So Amazon's got a lot of fun things.
All right, so if you guys have any ideas, I guess, is there when you need to know by? If there is any ideas?
Probably in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
What time frame are we looking at this? Is it
We're looking
Friday
from
night?
about 5 till the movie's over. So, but the pre-movie activities will go from 5 till the sun goes down enough to start the movie.
Awesome. Should be good. Moving along, Hassan Creek Trail Loop. Can you bring up Google Maps? If you wouldn't mind, please.
Sure.
So while he's typing, so if you guys have ever been to Hassan Creek, the nature trail, there's the one main path that takes you to the what we call the Upper McCungie waterfalls, and then to the right, and if you zoom out a little bit,
Sure.
actually, if you do just regular street road, not satellites, I messed it up earlier. So we can see where the body of water is, the Fogelsville, does that say Fogelsville Dam? So there's a great path that goes pretty much parallel with that, and it'll take you all the way to the end there where it says pond,
Okay.
which is where the waterfall is roughly. However, all that green, that shaded green that's to the right, that's all woods, and there's paths in there. The paths though are not marked. During the wintertime, you can go in there and it's a lot easier to follow because you can see through the bushes. In the summertime, you can't. But some of those paths do make good loops. Other paths lead to people's backyards. But I think it's an easy way to add more walking trails within the township without bulldozing or knocking down trees or anything. We just need to make sure that they're marked.
Okay.
Once the brushes grow in, you really can't see much. So I don't know what the process would be for that, but
Is that the creek which goes to the top of the waterfall?
Yeah.
Isn't it? I tried to find out once, I couldn't find out.
yeah, you keep going all the way down
There
and
was
then
no
you have to,
marking, so I went all the way down, then I hit that community. I went all the way up, then I hit the golf course.
oh yeah, you went way too far. It's a little bit of an incline now.
That disc golf thing.
Oh, you went on the wrong side.
Yeah,
You're on the opposite
I
side.
was on
You're going the opposite side of the road.
opposite side of the road,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, you were.
I was in the park side, so I was trying to find out how to go to the top of but it was no marking on either side.
Okay. But do we think that's something that can be done, or
I think we'll have a discussion internally. I think there's also other resources and opportunities that this might be a project for. Trail groups or Boy Scout, Girl Scout kind of groups that maybe we can come up with a solution to this. And I would say this recommendation is in line with our Park Rec Open Space Plan that has really emphasized and talked about this area and connectivity in a lot of our steering committee and public meetings. So I think it's a great suggestion, and we will regroup on how to get it solved.
awesome? Sounds good. That's all we got. You want
Are we
to
talking signs or like blazing trees?
just like blazing trees? I think that's what even like this the state's doing now. They're not even doing signs anymore. They're just spray painting the trees
Yeah.
because there's I guess zero maintenance on it.
Well,
Ish. You have to explain this.
Yep, I'll just do it real quick. Each of you has, as board members, has a little booklet. It's from the State Ethics Committee, and we're just required to make sure everyone has them, that has a copy of them. So I'm just handing them out to you at this month's meeting.
Not everybody got one though.
Who missed one?
Jackie, that's because she behaves on this thing. I'm just kidding.
Okay. It's like I counted them out. I knew I had them.
Okay. Courtesy of the floor. Any public comment? You guys are spectators? Did we at least entertain you? All right, we try. Okay. Anything else? Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second Rogers. All those in favor? Aye. All right.